under the presidency of Park Chung-hee, father of the current president, come out with a law under which miniskirts were banned in South Korea. Long in the 1970s, women were not allowed to wear skirts shorter than the government-approved length. Indecent exposure in public is considered a severe offense. Ladies were to wander in streets in trousers and jeans. The law was not only restricted to the fashion of Korean ladies but also consider men hair as important. All the men were not allowed to grow hair longer than a certain length. The law was made for such a thing because it was considered as something shameful, unimpressive and causing discomfort in public. The heaviest limousine is Midnight Rider, weighing 22,933 kilograms, 50,560 pounds. It is 21.3 meters, 70 feet long and 4.1 meters, 13 feet 8 inches high. It was designed by Michael Machado and Pamela Bartholomew in California, USA, and begun operating on the 3rd of September 2004. Midnight Rider features 3 lounges and a separate bar and can accommodate up to 40 passengers, served by a crew of 4. Its interior decor is based on the railroad Pullman cars, which were popular from the mid-1800s. Its horn plays the theme of The Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers. Hummingbirds have long intrigued scientists. Their wings can beat 80 times a second. Their hearts can beat more than 1,000 times a minute. They live on nectar and can pack on 40% of their body weight in fat for migration. But sometimes they are so lean that they live close to caloric bankruptcy. At such times, some hummingbirds could starve to death while they sleep because they're not getting to eat every half hour or so. Instead, they enter a state of torpor, with heartbeat and body temperature turned way down to diminish the need for food. Kenneth C. Welch Jr. at the University of Toronto, Scarborough has studied the metabolisms of hummingbirds for more than a decade. His most recent research with Derek J. E. Groom, in his lab, and other colleagues is on the size and energy efficiency in hummingbirds. By using data on oxygen consumption and wing beats to get an idea of how much energy hummingbirds take in and how much work they put out, the scientists found that during strenuous hovering flight, bigger hummingbirds are more efficient energy users than smaller ones. The research was published in Proceedings of the Royal Society B. Excerpts from a telephone conversation with Welch have been edited for clarity and length. The coronavirus pandemic had an unexpected side effect in Venice, where the normally cloudy canals have transformed into water crystal clear enough to see fish swimming below. Italy's tourism industry came to a screeching halt once the number of coronavirus cases began to spike in the country, but those who remained posted to social media images of the traffic-less canals. Swans were seen in the water, while dolphins were spotted swimming in the port. However, the transparent water isn't so much a sign of better water quality as it is the result of the lack of boat traffic, which typically kicks sediment to the surface, Pier Paolo Campostrini, the managing director for the Consortium for Managing Scientific Research on Venice Lagoon System, told ABC News via email. The low turbidity of the water does not mean cleanliness, Campostrini said. The transparency is due to the absence of sediment resuspension. The cold temperature of the water also plays a part, Campostrini said. At about 57 degrees Fahrenheit, there is little synthesis of organic compounds from carbon dioxide, which doesn't begin until about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. It's likely that the air quality has improved since every kind of pollutants decreased a lot, but a chemical analysis would need to be performed to say so for sure, Campostrini added. Amid the crisis, the clear water is a small reprieve for Venice, which experienced flooding by the highest tide in more than 50 years, causing inestimable damage to the centuries-old city. The postpartum period is associated with many adjustments to fathers that pose risks for depression. Estimates of the prevalence of paternal postpartum depression (PPD) in the first 2 months postpartum vary in the postpartum period from 4 to 25%. Paternal PPD has high comorbidity with maternal PPD and might also be associated with other postpartum psychiatric disorders. Studies so far have only used diagnostic criteria for maternal PPD to investigate paternal PPD, so there is an urgent need to study the validity of these scales for men and develop accurate diagnostic tools for paternal PPD. Paternal PPD has negative impacts on the family, including increasing emotional and behavioral problems among their children, either directly or through the mother, and increasing conflicts in the marital relationship. Changes in hormones, including testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, vasopressin, and prolactin, during the postpartum period in fathers, may be biological risk factors in paternal PPD. Fathers who have ecological risk factors, such as excessive stress from becoming a parent, lack of social supports for parenting, and feeling excluded from mother-infant bonding, may be more likely to develop paternal PPD. Support from their partner, educational programs, policy for paid paternal leave, as well as consideration of psychiatric care may help fathers cope with stressful experiences during the postpartum period.